2020, after the start of the regular season was postponed almost 5 months, the Tampa Bay Rays embarked on a 60-game sprint where they were crowned AL East champions, American League champions, and experienced a trip to the World Series for the second time in franchise history.
But the ball gets away! Tampa Bay wins it!
And now the Rays look forward to a full slate of games, a 162-game season, and it starts in spring training with protocols in place and their sights set on returning to the World Series.
We've got an opportunity here this spring to really come together again and see what we're capable of doing on the field. We need to find a way to be a really good team again.
This is your Tampa Bay Rays 2021 Spring Training Preview. Welcome to your Tampa Bay Rays Spring Training Preview 2021. I'm Tricia Whitaker. We are right outside of historic Al Lang Stadium where so many all-time baseball greats have passed through. It was also the home to Rays Spring Training from 1998 to 2008. 2020 was a strange but magical season for the Rays. After a 60-game sprint to the postseason, they found themselves as one of two of the last teams standing at the end of October. But before that exciting World Series run, there were so many magical moments. Let's take a look back at some of the most impactful games of the 2020 season.
Now the 2-2, that's lifted high and deep into left, and that baby's gone. Two-run shot by Mike Grosso. He lifts this one back into right center field, and that ball's going to get out of here into the bullpen. Mike Grosso hits his second home run of the night. One out away from clinching the American League East.
There it is.
And a cut and a miss. He takes care of business.
The Tampa Bay Rays win the American League East.
3-2, Brasso sends one into left field. Gardner going back, and it is up and gone!
You want to be in those situations, and that's my mentality when I go in a late time situation. And a group of guys that just can't mix any better. We click, we have fun, and it really makes it fun and enjoyable to come to the park every day.
Arena has destroyed fastballs, and he hits that one into right center field. That ball is well hit, and Randy Arozarena does it again. And a swing and a miss. 0-2 pitch, a call, strike three. Correa's rung up, and Charlie Morton has it rolling here in Game 7. Coming in, Margot, and that's it! The Tampa Bay Rays have won the American League pennant! The Rays are going to the World Series! Jansen, that is into center field. Here comes Kiermaier. Phillips has tied the game. Arozarena coming around. Throw home, now he stumbles, but the ball gets away. Tampa Bay wins it! Brett Phillips, Game 4 hero!
You look back, everything that took place from spring training in Port Charlotte to spring 2.0 to the protocols, it seemed like it was evolving, and every day there was something new, or every series there was something new that our guys had to be prepared to make adjustments with, and they did. I give them all a lot of credit for the way they went about handling their business. We had a special group. No doubt the way they performed on the field was, the best in baseball -1. The Dodgers just were just a little bit better. 2020 brought a lot of excitement, but we'd like to get back to playing a 6-month season with a chance to play in the 7th.
Kevin, this is kind of a futuristic question, but after what you all were able to do last season, a run to the World Series, what is a realistic expectation for this group this year? Obviously, you want to get back to the World Series, but when you look at it realistically, what do you expect this group of guys can do?
Well, look, I don't think it's a fair goal to sit there and say, you know, go win the World Series. We need to find a way to be a really good team again.
You look back to 2018, you know, there's some validation that, okay, we're turning a corner, we're starting to win some games, reaching 90 wins for the first time in several years. 96 wins, taking Houston to Game 5, the DS in 19, another big step. And I think our players, through those experiences, they learned a lot, they grew a lot. It certainly helped their motivations, not that they needed it. And then obviously the run we had last year. Those are really beneficial experiences that prepare a group for taking additional steps.
Yes, we have to appreciate what took place in 2020. That's something that I hope none of us ever forget, because there were exciting times. But we're now in 2021 with some of the same players and some different ones. And now we've got an opportunity here this spring to really come together again and see what we're capable of doing on the field.
After a year like last year, there's only, I guess, 2 more steps, 2 more wins to take, and it's not going to be that easy, but this group's lived it, they've experienced it, they've had some of those moments, and there's no reason that we can't go into this year with the belief that expecting to win 2 more games than we did last year.
We want to go out there and not change the mindset. The mindset's pretty simple. Find a way to win a game each and every night, and the more times you do that, the more you're going to line yourself up for success.
The Rays are fortunate to be returning to the field without much turnover from their World Series roster, specifically from the position player standpoint. Here to break that down a little bit more for us are 2 of my personal favorites and former Major League players themselves, Orestes Estrada and Doug Wechter.
All right, Orestes, we're talking offense. Your favorite thing to talk about.
Yes,
2021 season, not a ton of turnover on this team offensively. What do you expect coming into this year?
Well, it's a good thing that they didn't have a whole lot of turnover, Dougie, because this is a very solid offense last year, very powerful, very diverse. And really, I'm going to break it down into 3 parts in this offense. Number 1, the stars. Number 2, the steadies. Number 3, the sleepers. When you think about the stars, there's 3 guys that could possibly be American League MVPs. Yes, believe it or not. Randy Arozarena, number 1. Number 2, Austin Meadows. Hey, he's going to have a great comeback year. And then, of course, Brandon Lau, one of the streakiest hitters, but very powerful. Going back to Arozarena, I expect the same that you saw at the end of last year, which was the best hitter in all of Major League Baseball as the season ended in the World Series. Why? Because his bat speed is unbelievable. Probably the quickest bat in all of baseball. And here's another reason. I think he's going to be smart this year. He's going to know that they're going to pitch around him. He's going to take the walks, possibly be a 30-30 guy. And if he does walk, then the guys around him, like Meadows and obviously Brandon Lau, are going to have a feast, because they're going to be worrying about Randy Arozarena, and here comes these other 2 stalwarts. In the steady scenario, hey, you need those steady guys. For me, it's Yandy Diaz. It's guys like Joey Wendell. It's guys like Kevin Kiermaier. Yandy getting on base at a 400 clip. Kiermaier, defense, obviously. And Joey Wendell, Mr. Utility, Mr. Everything. He's the type of guy that does the great things at the bat. He's so clutch. The sleepers, watch these guys and these names. Francisco Mejia. Who? Francisco Mejia. Little guy, switch hitter, mad pop. Don't look at last year's numbers. Look at the year before. This kid is a catcher. He's going to be playing a lot, and he's got dramatic power from both sides. A sleeper, YOSHI TSUTSUGO. Yes, wakarimashita. Hai, kotoshi wa subarashi. Listen, last year was a tough year for a lot of people, including YOSHI. Never had a chance to really kind of get going, not have a full season. Watch this DH, sometime outfielder, have a 30-homer, 80, 90 RBI year. And then Mikey Brosseau, everybody's favorite. And I say sleeper because not expected to play a lot, Dougie, but here's the deal. If he gets a lot of ups, somebody gets injured, he's the perfect substitution guy. So when you put them all together with Willie Adames, Zunino, and you add these guys, guys like Manny Margot, this offense is powerful, diverse, deep, and also can play the mix and match game, can hit and can play defense. Dougie, I can't wait for it.
Boy, you breaking down that offense gets me excited, and I don't get excited about offenses, though. I'm a pitching guy, pitching in defense, but I'm telling you, man, I can't wait to see what this offense can do 2021.
I feel really good about the offense. Hopefully everybody stay healthy, and I think we're going to be fine. I think the team is looking really good, so I'm really excited about this year.
We're ready. We're ready to go. It's fun being here, fun seeing everyone again. I'm excited to see more of the new guys, the guys trying to make a name for themselves coming up from our minor league system. You know, it's a very exciting time to be a Tampa Bay Ray.
Willie, 2020 was a season of success for the Rays. But when you remember Game 6 of the World Series and losing the World Series, does that feeling of loss at the highest level motivate you throughout the entire offseason and throughout spring training and the regular season to never feel that way again?
Of course. I mean, every time you're that really, when you're that close to win it all and then, you know, it doesn't go your way, you got that taste that you almost got it. I'm looking forward to see everybody in spring training and to see their attitude and how they come to spring training.
Being 2 wins away from winning the World Series just makes everybody realize kind of how close we were. But, you know, at the same time, I think appreciating the, you know, the season that we did have regular all the way into the postseason and the run that we had. So yeah, I think it's a little of both. We believe with the group of guys that we had last year and this year that, you know, that we're capable of winning the World Series.
It's always good to have depth. I think that's kind of been our staple through the past couple of years. They've done a great job scouting players and everything. So I think just the more players we have, the better it is. And hopefully there'll be some like minor league season that starts where guys can kind of get into like that game mode and everything. I know the bubble was a weird situation last year to where like to go throw to guys not in the game situation and then having to get called up was a bit strange.
To play last year only 60 games and then come this year to play a whole season, it's exciting. You know, it's a challenge because obviously last year was tough because we had to stay at home for 3 months, sitting down, and then go play 60 games, then go to playoff. And now to come this year and play 162 games, you know, it's going to be a challenge, but it's really exciting because, you know, now we're going back to normal. Hopefully we can get fans in the stands and, you know, everything is going to go like back in the days, you know, with fans, and it's going to be fun.
I am joined now by one of the voices of Rays Radio, Neil Solondz. Neil, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course.
So let's talk a little bit about spring training. It's a unique season that we're headed into because last season, a lot of these prospects that we're going to see during spring training, they didn't have a minor league season. It affected them tremendously. How will that affect them heading into 2021?
Well, it's hard to say, and that's part of the concern that I think the Rays and every organization has. The Rays have the #1 system in the game, so you had a lot of prospects who didn't get game time, they didn't get development. I think it makes it fairly difficult because they're trying to make up now for lost time.
There's one guy at spring training who's everybody is so excited to see, and that is Wander Franco. You can't miss him. He is a big presence on the field. We were looking forward to last season watching him and potentially seeing him up in the big leagues. What can we expect from him this year, and will we see him in the big leagues this year?
All you're expecting is the Rookie of the Year, right? I mean, he was at the alternate side. He was with the Rays for the postseason last year. I think he has a chance to really shine. Obviously, the Rays are going to be careful with him. I would guess he starts the season at AA, but you're talking about a guy that 2 years ago went a whole week without missing a single pitch at the plate. No swings and misses. He's got that kind of talent offensively.
A lot of talent from Wander Franco. All right, Neil, spring training can be a little bit overwhelming when you just take a look at the roster. So help us break down a little bit some of the prospects, specifically from the position player standpoint. Which guys can help the Rays from that perspective?
Obviously, a lot of that has to do with health because I think the Rays do have a good and deep position player group. And beyond Wander, I would start with Taylor Walls. Taylor Walls is kind of like a Kevin Kiermaier in terms of the infield. He is that good defensively. He's a switch hitter. He can run extremely well. And speaking of running extremely well, Vidal Brujan is dynamic. This is a prototypical leadoff hitter who is the best base runner in the organization. And finally, Josh Lowe. If he's named LOWE, he's probably in the Rays system. Josh is a 20-20 or 30-30 potential in terms of power and speed.
All right, let's talk pitchers. We saw a lot of guys make their major league debut last season. We're also expecting some of these prospects who were injured for quite some time to show up this season. What can we expect there?
Well, I would start with Shane McClanahan. I mean, historic debut in the postseason last year, and I think he's got a chance to help the Rays in a lot of ways, along with Josh Fleming, who also did a really nice job for Yanni Chirinos after he was injured. I would expect both McClanahan and Fleming are going to help the Rays this year. And then I think everyone's looking forward to Brent Honeywell getting on the mound and pitching. He's been injured for 3 years now after having Tommy John in 2018. He's finally healthy and able to live up to that potential. And then there's Luis Patino, the key piece in the Blake Snell deal. He's got unlimited potential.
We addressed it a bit in the beginning of this segment, but let's talk a little bit about the what ifs and the could be's. There are a lot of guys that we didn't see last season, but we could see this season. Which guys are you looking at during spring training?
Well, in terms of development, I would start with Xavier Edwards. Xavier was also a guy who the Rays got in a big trade, a trade with the San Diego Padres for Tommy Pham. He's got the ability to play multiple positions. He can switch hit. He's got great speed, also a guy you would hit at the top of your lineup. And on the pitching side, the guy I would look at is Joe Ryan. 2 years ago, Joe Ryan was the pitcher of the year in the Rays system, and now he gets to pitch once again. He's got swing and miss stuff.
Neil, that was expert analysis. Thank you so much for joining us on our spring training preview.
The team has told me to be ready to start, so that's my plan. And anything else is going to be talked about. We're gonna do the right thing and manage things properly. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help this team. So if it does ask me to do something a little different, I'm open to it.
He's got really good stuff. His stuff has not changed that much on the mound. I think he's had some bad luck, some injuries for sure that doesn't help any player or certainly a pitcher that he's tried to overcome and battle through. I think us knowing him and him knowing us is going to make it really nice to have him back.
Chris, you've got spring training to get ready for the regular season, but once the regular season does hit, how do you expect to be used in this rotation?
I expect for the most part to be a traditional starter. We have talked about some things like getting creative in different ways. But Eric and the team has told me to be ready to start. So that's my plan. And anything else is going to be talked about. We're gonna do the right thing and manage things properly. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help this team. So if it does ask me to do something a little different, I'm open to it.
Our expectation in doing this deal is for him to post for us every 5th day, but Chris has also made it really clear that for him, whatever he can do to help this team win is what he's going to be all about. And we'll see where that takes us, but ideally this thing plays out where he goes through his progression the way we want him to, the way he wants to, and he's in that rotation every 5th game.
It's obviously a lot different being able to catch a guy instead of facing him. I've had my fair share of at-bats off him, but it's nice to be there, talk pitching. You had great conversations today about what he likes to do, how he likes to sequence. Has a real knowledge of what he wants to do and how his stuff plays. So it's going to be nice to be able to work with a guy that has that idea and just be able to go out there and execute.
First of all, we have to focus every day on winning that game. We have to focus on winning every single inning. Again, I think our pitching and defense is going to carry us. And I'm really, really excited to be a part of it. Really excited to go out there and just have fun and let KK do his thing out in center field and let Willie Pickett, Bilal and everybody. I want to see those stretches by G-Man and, Joey Wendell and everybody just doing their thing out there.
One of the biggest question marks heading into spring training is how the Rays pitching rotation will shape up. With the loss of 2 key starters in Blake Snell and Charlie Morton, going from a 60-game sprint of a season to a 162-game marathon of a season, not to mention the absence of a minor league season. The Rays will have to put together a pitching rotation with some returning faces, some new faces, and an old familiar friend. Here to break that down a little bit more for us, once again, is Orestes Estrada and Doug Wechter.
All right, Dougie, I love talking hitting. We have to talk pitching. All right, a little bit of a turnover this offseason. What's the pitching looking like for the Rays?
Yeah, a little bit of a turnover, but look, this pitching staff is still dominant. Last year they ranked 4th in all MLB with a 3.67 ERA. No reason to think they can't be just as dominant this year. And it's going to be the starting rotation is where we got to begin with this conversation, And when you talk starting rotation for the Rays, you have to start with the ace, Tyler Glasnow. This is a guy who went in there last season, led in innings pitched with 57, strikeouts with 91, tied for most starts with 11. He really took the ball and ran with it last year. I think if he's healthy, he goes out there this year with the 6'8" frame, 98 to 100 mile an hour fastball. He has a chance to be a Cy Young Award candidate. Behind him, it's going to be Ryan Yarbrough. Ryan Yarbrough is a totally different look. Left-hander, cutter, slider, change-up. He's a guy who just feasts on weak contact. So the combination of Glasnow to Yarbrough is going to be dominant for sure. Behind him, you got some new faces, but from there, it's going to be Chris Archer. Look, this is a familiar face, but he hasn't been with the Rays in the last couple seasons. He's been over with the Pirates, went through a couple of health issues, but now he's back, and he is 100%. I'm getting reports that this guy is free and easy on the mound. And when he's free and easy, he's mid-90s fastball, four-seam, top of the zone. Behind that, one of the most dominant sliders in the game. So watch for that wipeout combination to come in this year and pick up some big innings for these Rays. Behind them, you're gonna see Rich Hill and you're gonna see Michael Wacha. These are two veteran guys combined, have 18 years Major League service time. With that type of experience, you combine that with this young talent on the staff, it's gonna be absolutely dominant and magical to watch. And then last but not least, man, you can't even say this last, but Josh Fleming. How about this kid? Goes in there, 7 starts last year, 5-0 record with a sub-3 ERA. Not scared of anyone, left-hander, a lot of talent. He's gonna be picking up a lot of innings for this staff too.
Hey, listen, with a truncated season last year, the starters just aren't that stretched out for a lot of innings. So the bullpen is going to be key, and this is one of the best bullpens in baseball.
Pete Fairbanks is the first guy you got to talk about when you're talking about this bullpen. Pete Fairbanks went in last year, had a career year. 6-3 record, sub-3 ERA, had 117 batters faced. That's more than anybody else in this bullpen, and you know as much as I do, they love going to these bullpen arms. So obviously Fairbanks going to be in the mix big time. Behind him, Diego Castillo. This kid has been impressive from the start. Last year, sub-2 ERA, goes in there with one of the most dominant sinker-slider combinations in the game. No hitter walking up to the plate is going to have a comfortable at-bat against Diego Castillo. And then you want to talk about the hammer, Nick Anderson. Going in, he gave up a 1 earned run last year, the entire season, 1 earned run. Remarkable what he did during the regular season, and there's no reason to think he can't do that in 2021.
Put it all together, this is a phenomenal team, expected to go deep once again in 2021.
That'll do it for us on your Rays Spring Training Preview. Thanks so much for joining us. For Orestes Estrada, Doug Wechter, and Neil Solantz, I'm Tricia Whitaker. Be sure to join us all season long right here on your home for Rays baseball.